Hey everybody, how are you doing? We're live. This is exciting. Whoop whoop. I've never done this. It just started. Yes, we just started. I've never done one of these where I like plan it ahead of time and then you know me. I like to fly by the seat of my pants. But how's everybody doing? If I'm being honest, I've been pretty maxed out. I've been feeling overwhelmed. For those of you who don't know me that well or haven't been maybe watching for that long, I'm definitely more of the kind of on the sensitive spectrum of life, like highly sensitive person. I would put myself more in that category than on the opposite end. So what our world has been going through has been a lot. I'm sure a lot of you feel that same way. It's just been kind of overwhelming. And so I thought we could just hang out, and you feel free to ask questions about stuff related to the coronavirus or managing anxiety. I'm happy to talk about it as much as you want me to, or we can just distract. We can talk about other things. But it has been super, super stressful. Yeah, I see a lot of you saying it's been super stressful. So yeah, just know that you're not alone. I know that doesn't like fix how you feel or anything, and it's okay to feel that way. Something that I've been trying to come to terms with on my own, and hopefully this is helpful for you, is that some days I'll feel better than others. Like today's technically is not that great of a day for me. I don't know. I just woke up feeling already maxed out, which sometimes happens, even though like I'm trying to limit the amount of news that I consume and stuff. I just don't really feel very good today, and that's okay. So I'm going to do this live stream, and I'm going to chill out. I'm going to do what my body needs me to do, which is not engage with the media. Maybe I'll solve a mystery and watch one of my crime shows. Maybe I will, I don't know, color, journal, call a friend. And so I, kind of like do some things that I need to do. And so I'd encourage all of you to be a little bit more compassionate and understanding for yourself, and notice when you maybe need to take a break from things and when it's okay to re-engage, or when we need to like reach out to other people. Because I don't want you to feel like how you're feeling isn't okay or normal. But there is a fine line, and I haven't reached that myself yet. But for some of you who maybe already struggle with depression or anxiety, if you find yourself just isolating completely, not reaching out to others, not doing things to help yourself, not distracting or using tools, if we are just isolating and feeling terrible, and just letting that overcome us, it might be a little bit better for you to engage and reach out to someone. If you haven't, and I'll get into your questions here in just a second, but if you haven't watched my video, I put out a video last Monday about COVID-19 and how to manage what we're feeling. I'll give you a little short reason as to why it's important that we engage with one another. That's why live streams are great. Communities online are great. Doing online hangouts with our friends and Skypes are all very important, because we know that the social engagement system is what they call it, which is like a way that our nervous system self-soothes. Oh, hi, Michael. I'll answer your question in just 1 second. Anyway, our nervous system calms itself through connection. It's really the antidote to all the anxiety that we're experiencing. And so the more we can connect with other people, ideally it's in person, but we know that that's not what we can do right now. And so we just need to find that connection to help ourselves calm down. Okay, let's see. Michael's question says, hey, Katie, love your videos and book. I'm so glad you like the book. I am 23 and have toxic parents. I'm trying to assert myself, but they are controlling and still overstep boundaries. Any advice? I still cannot afford to move out. I understand it can be really hard and really expensive to move out. My best advice would be to honor yourself. We can't control what other people do, unfortunately. We can never control what other people do. And so I honestly think that the best way is to continue, laying your boundaries down. If they overstep them, that doesn't mean that we have to engage with it. And I know that that's hard, but let's say an example of a boundary would be like, I need some alone time in my room, so I'm going to be there, and they come in and start talking to you. You don't have to keep the conversation going with them. You can just say again, hey, I said I needed some time alone. I'll come out and talk with you in a minute. And if they keep persisting, we can just push back and say, I told you I just needed some alone time, and I would understand if you did, so please understand that I do. And I know that people can be really pushy, can be really mean, but all we can do is just honor ourselves and honor our own boundaries. And I know it's really hard, especially when you can get out of there. We don't need to be around that kind of like unhealthy behavior. And I'm sorry that that's happening, but I think the best way is just to continue to put up the boundaries, to continue to, it's important to just continue to place the boundary. Like, hey, I love you, but I said I needed time. Hey, I love you, but I said I needed time, or, whatever it is, just keep kind of broken recording it. And I hope that helps. And thanks for being a member of the community. Okay. Why eating disorders, I'd assume, cause psychiatric conditions? Is that what you mean? Why EDS? I think that's what you'd mean. And thanks, Kat. Oh, and it is a kitty. I love that picture of the kitty. And thanks, Stephen and Graham, the bi-weekly journal. I do offer weekly journal prompts on, and hey, Karen, you too. I offer them on Tuesdays and Fridays. And lately I've been trying to keep them kind of focused around what this is, what COVID-19 and what's going on right now. But I'll try to get more distracting and engaging in that way on Tuesday, tomorrow. So eating disorders can cause, I'm not sure if I don't really believe that eating disorders cause psychiatric conditions. Is that what the question was, you guys? Psychiatric conditions. I mean, eating disorders are a mental illness, if that's what you mean. And yes, having an eating disorder, it's really just a coping skill for something bigger that's going on. It doesn't matter if we're overeating, undereating, overexercising. I don't care how it shows itself. All eating disorders are the same, and they're always just coping skills for something greater. And so if we're not giving our body the energy that it needs to do what it needs to do every day, it's going to impair our ability to function. We all know, if you've listened to any of my diagnostically driven videos, meaning like how do we diagnose something, you know that if it impairs our ability to function, that's when it becomes a mental illness. And so that's why an eating disorder, it falls into that. It's not about the food. It's not about how we look. It's a mental illness. It's the way that we're viewing our life and our situation. Anything else that we can control or anything else that we can use to cope with what's going on, and we use food. Oh, hypermobility. I'm not familiar with that, Stephen. I'm so sorry. Ehlers-Danlos syndrome? I know the only thing I can tell you is that if we do, it can be really hard to fight those negative thoughts and stay with it. Okay, let me go back up. I missed a question, and I'm sorry. I'm not a medical doctor, so I'm not familiar. Oh, and that's another question about that. Therapist diagnosed with somatic. Oh, you guys, it's a somatic symptom disorder. I fit all the symptoms for Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. So many questions about this. And deal with dislocations and chronic pain. But I'm still being told it. Oh, and that is so frustrating. I'm sorry, I don't know much about that. I know about somatic symptom disorder, but again, it's a little bit out of my expertise. And so honestly, Kaylin, and first of all, I'm sorry that you're dealing with such shitty professionals. I hate when they say things are all in your head, because truthfully, at the root of that, does that even make it any less valid? No. Depression, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, anxiety, they're all in our head, and they're still completely important, rational issues and illnesses that need to be treated. And so I really hate that. I hate that explanation. And it really frustrates me. So I would get another opinion. I would, try to see another specialist, come with a list of your symptoms and what you feel you're experiencing. And your therapist is diagnosed you. So I'd ask your therapist to, I'm still being told it's all in my head. I don't understand. I mean, I would just try to find someone who specializes in that kind of treatment, who specializes in somatic symptom disorders, and see them, because hopefully they'll understand a little bit more about what you're going through and can be a little bit more validating. Because even if it is all in our head, that doesn't make it less of a real thing for us. Okay, let me see. Sorry, guys, it's a lot to keep up with today. Where did that one go? How can I do? Sorry, guys, I'm new to this. Okay. Manon says, hey, Katie, hope you're okay. I was wondering if you had any advice on how to tell people how anxious and stressed I'm feeling about the current situation, how much it's affecting my depression. I think, and Rebecca, of course, I'm so happy that you could come and hang out with me. And thank you guys for all being part of the community and for supporting one another. It's really important at a time like this. I think the best way we can describe why this is so, well, first of all, everybody's feeling some kind of shittiness right now, right? The world is in disarray. It can feel chaotic. It can feel out of control. If we had any anxiety before, we definitely are experiencing it now. So hopefully people are a little bit more compassionate and understanding. However, the best way I think to describe why it's making things worse is to say to someone, you know how things are just crazy right now and it already feels overwhelming for you. I already feel some sense of overwhelm every day. And with this going on, it just takes it to the next level, makes it that much difficult. And you could even compare it and saying like, it's like I walk around with a head cold every day. And then during allergy season, it makes it that much worse. Can you just imagine what that would be like? And that's kind of how my mental health is. I like to always compare mental health to physical health because people tend to pay more attention and understand more, which is really annoying, but they're really one and the same. So maybe comparing it to having a cold and then having the allergy season kick up, that could be something that they might be able to tangibly hold on to. But I really think that also it's important to recognize why we're experiencing these symptoms. And it's because of our fight, flight, freeze response, because there's a threat. So if you guys don't know, part of our survival, the way that our brain works, is it's constantly seeking out threat to keep us safe. It makes sense. If I hear a bear in the bushes, I'm going to run away. And that would keep me alive and keep me safe. And all of these things that are built into our system is really what helps keep us alive and well. And so when we have a threat like this, we sense the threat. We know what it is. We have a name for it, but we can't really run away from it. We can't fight, flight, freeze. We can't really do anything. There's nothing we can do with all that energy that our body's creating to activate our system. And so we feel overwhelmed and we maybe are tearful. We want to cry a lot. Maybe we feel really down. It can be hard to sleep. Your thoughts can be racing. And so that's why it's important that we engage with other people. Maybe just, hugging a friend or family member if they're in the home with you and it's already safe for you to be around them, or just connecting online. Like I said at the beginning, I know it's not the same, but it's something. Those are all ways to help calm our system. Even doing some exercise at your house, stretching, yoga, doing a workout on YouTube, something like that. My friend, the fitness marshal, Caleb, he has some great videos. I would encourage you to check those out. Okay, Sonia says, tips on being quarantined with a significant other when you have BPD. In general, you guys, we're all going to have to respect each other's boundaries and space. And I would encourage us all to set aside some time every day where we just do our own thing. We don't engage with them for a little while. We're used to having these breaks in our day where we get to do other things and we're not like holed up. And trust me, my husband and I are in a 1,000 square feet apartment, and our apartment has never felt smaller because we usually get to go out and leave the house. So finding your own space and time for what you need to do is really, really the best. And so if you are working on your symptoms of BPD and you have like a workbook, I would set aside a good 30-minute chunk in the earlier part of the day and then in your later part of the day. So a total of an hour, and just do your work, do some of your skills, do some of your journaling, do some of your coloring and connecting or whatever it is that you need to do, make time for that, okay? Jake Colt 45 says, how long does it take to recover from unwanted intrusive thoughts? Truthfully, everyone's going to be different. I know everybody hates that example and hates it when people say that, but the real thing is that if we fight them and we don't engage with them, they will go away and they will become less and less and less. It's like OCD. If any of you, because if you don't understand, intrusive thoughts can be part of OCD. I have a video called Pure OCD. You can watch that. But they will, thoughts, instead of having these actions that we have to take, we always think of OCD as like, oh, I have to wash my hands 7 times or whatever. OCD is really more about the anxiety build for not doing a certain thing. And so intrusive thoughts can build this anxiety like, oh my God, am I really going to do this? Oh my God, because intrusive thoughts tend to be violent or sexual in nature. And so know that the less likely we are to engage, the less frequently we engage with those thoughts, the less likely they will happen and they'll start to go away. Does that make sense? I know I kind of talked in a circle there, but hopefully it came back around for you. Steven says, what gene causes OCD? From my understanding, I'm not a I don't specialize in genetics. I'm not a geneticist or a scientist. And I don't believe it's just one gene. Most mental illnesses, they know at least 5 that are part of it, if not more. But I do know that when we have someone in our close family, like our mother, our father, our brother, our sister, that we a relative of theirs are more likely to have it than someone who, say, doesn't have a relative with it. Sam, the Sparrow Panda, says, hey, Katie, any advice for healthcare workers experiencing severe anxiety? I don't have to donate anything. I know this is a very financially it's such a stressful, it says reconnecting. Why does it say that? Okay, we're back. I know this is a really financially stressful situation for a lot of you. And thank you so much. Thank you to all of our healthcare workers out there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If there is any place, I know Sean is on as well in the other room. If there's a place or anything I can tweet out, let people know about ways to donate, ways to assist you, things that we can do to help you, let us know, because I'm staying home because you can't and you're helping others. I can't be more grateful to all of our healthcare workers. And so the advice that I have is to make sure that I know that it feels crazy and you're probably working long hours and you're exhausted, but we need to do certain things to kind of calm our system down. So here's some ideas. At the beginning or end of your day, or both, do some 4x4 breathing. I know this sounds crazy and people are like, I hate breathing exercises, but I promise it will help, because our system's so activated, and you're running around, I'm sure, like crazy trying to help so many sick people right now. You breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold it for 4 seconds at the top, and then you breathe out for 4 seconds, and you do it 4 times. And something about having to count and pay attention to how many cycles you've done keeps our mind off of anxiety-producing thoughts and helps us calm down. Another one that I've personally been doing is I've been rubbing on my neck and doing like neck rolls. And I know this sounds crazy, but our face, neck, shoulders are what's involved. Those are the muscles that are activated when we feel super stressed out. And so taking some time to stretch them out and do that has been very, very helpful for me personally. And then the third and final tip I'll offer is kind of going back to like intrusive thoughts. If you have these anxious thoughts that just spiral you out, like we all have right now, I want you to take the thought somewhere else. I have videos about thought stopping. You can look it up, like YouTube, Katie Morton thought stopping. That could maybe assist you. And also I think my favorite, and you guys have heard this over and over this week, and I'm sorry, but I tell myself stories about my favorite vacations or trips or memories, or I create like a vacation I want to take. Like I really would love to go to different parts of Australia. And so I could try to tell myself about what the trip would look like and make up a story. And by doing that, forcing our mind away from anxious, crazy making thoughts into more calming, happy, soothing thoughts, we forget about all this spiraling and we can calm down. And so just make sure you're taking care of yourself. Okay. I know it's hard. I know it takes some work and stuff, but it does get better. Okay. Okay, I think I answered all the questions that came up, right? Oh, Abby has a question, says, how do I deal with eating disorder relapse during this time? I went from anorexia to BED, binge eating disorder, to bulimia. Very normal for them to flip-flop over the past few years. First of all, is that possible? And how do I deal with freakouts? My anxiety got real bad. The thing about it is that eating disorders are like shapeshifters. They'll change their behaviors to hang on because they're a coping skill. Just try to think of them that way. So yes, it's very, very, very normal to go from anorexia to bulimia to binge eating disorder to all sorts of stuff. Eating disorders will shapeshift throughout the years. And the best way to manage this is to reach out for support. If you don't have a therapist, I would encourage you to use Talkspace, BetterHelp. Even Crisis Text Line is a great resource while we're at home. If you do have a therapist, try to connect with them through Skype, phones, conversations, stuff like that. Use those tools. And then also, I think using some impulse logs will really be beneficial, Abby. I would get, I like the Safe Alternatives app, it's called. I think it costs like $1 or $2, but they're a great program. They have a great program. I love them. It's worth giving them the money. It goes to a good cause. But they have impulse logs where you're like, what was the impulse to overeat, undereat, whatever it is? What happened today that I think might have triggered this? What are some things I can do instead? It helps you kind of process through those impulses to slow down our reactivity. I think that's something we can all use right now. So stick with it, Abby. It does get better. Hang in there. Okay, Veronica says, any tips on talking to your therapist about starting medication? I have OCD and depression, and lately it's getting a lot harder to manage. Honestly, I would just say exactly what you said to me. Say like, my symptoms are getting overwhelming. I'm not able to deal with them anymore. I wanted to consider medication. Is that something we can talk about? Or can you refer me to a psychiatrist? Because you should be referred to a medical professional. Therapists cannot prescribe medication. We can't tell you what you should be on. That is completely out of our scope of practice, and I think should be like illegal. It really pisses me off because it's not what we're trained to do. I didn't go to medical school. We had one class about drugs, like we call them psychotropic medications. One class. That's not enough. And I know therapists like to say, oh, I think you should try insert medication. Don't take their advice. See a medical professional and let them refer you to, oh, hey, Lady Peters. Hey. Then let the physician tell you what they think is best. Okay. And finally, Nina's question: the shelter-in-place mandates have triggered my PTSD. I haven't had a therapist in 5 years and can't afford online programs. Any advice for coping? Nina, we're going to have to figure out, kind of back to what I was saying with other people, is like figuring out how to soothe our system. It depends on what triggers your PTSD. But if you feel like being stuck in home is doing this, if it's safe, early in the morning, or if you're not I'm in a congested area, so I don't even feel like it's safe for me to go walking about. But if you can walk around, just around your house, around the block, somewhere that feels okay, there's nobody out, you can do that. Do some deep breathing. It could be taking a warm bath. It could be doing some stretches. Try to find some things to help calm your system down, because that will really get you to feeling better. If you can think back to your therapist that you were with over 5 years ago, what tools and things helped you then? And I also have a whole video. Nina, I would check out my video, the 25 coping skills. Just use YouTube search Kati Morton 25 coping skills and try some of those. Some are distraction techniques, some are processing, but I think it'll really help you get through. And I'm sorry that you're feeling so overwhelmed. It's a really tough time, you guys. Ugh. Okay, Jay Colt's question: how to get your motivation back from not leaving the house for years due to OCD and really bad intrusive thoughts. Doing anything like leaving the house is really hard. First of all, in a way, it's kind of good because we're not supposed to leave the house right now. And so the thing about getting motivation back is setting up very, very small, and intrusive thoughts I'll get into in a second, but we have to set really small, achievable goals, things that are easy for us to do. Like maybe it's I walk out, I open my door and I go get my mail. Maybe that's the thing that we do that day. Check that off. We're done for the day. That's all we had to do. It could even be like showering, setting that goal. Showering can fucking change your life, you guys. I swear to God, it can make all the difference. And then when it comes to intrusive thoughts, we have to do those thought stopping techniques. So check out my videos on thought stopping. You can, like I said earlier, like I go into like a favorite memory or a vacation I want to take. Or, you just dream a dream and let your brain go into happy, relaxing thoughts versus these crazy, overwhelming thoughts that are like bringing you down. And motivation is one little thing at a time. I think that the problem is when we feel unmotivated, we're like, I want to do all of this. And then we're like, but I'm down here. Shit, it's going to be so hard to get all the way up there. One little thing at a time. So set small goals each and every day, just 1 to 2 goals a day, and see how those go and work your way up to that. Okay. Mark's question: been a long time viewer. Oh, of course. Yay. Long time. I love my OG viewers. Thanks for helping me and everyone else so much. Of course, Mark. Thanks for coming to hang out. I hope that what I've been doing recently has been helpful. I know it's been a lot. It's been a lot for all of us. Okay. Kara. Hi, Kati. What advice do you have for people whose therapy appointments have been canceled because of COVID-19? A lot of people have been telling me about this. And first of all, I'm really, really sorry. I think the best thing that we can do is to ask if they'll do phone sessions or Skype sessions. I'm sure I can speak for all therapists when I say things are overwhelming right now. We are overwhelmed. That doesn't mean we can't contain it for you. That's part of our job. That's why we do what we do, is to help and support and be there. Everybody's having a tough time. And I'm still doing Skype and texting and FaceTime and different types of sessions. So I would ask for that. I would push for that. Sometimes we have to be our own advocate, right? No one else is going to advocate for us. Excuse me, I burped. I think I would definitely do that. I would definitely do some journaling and go to that coping skill video that I mentioned, the Katie Morton 25 coping skills, and utilize some of the tools there so that you feel like you have other ways to manage in between those sessions while you're feeling kind of overwhelmed. Okay. Gregory says, oh, hi, Gregory Riggs. I recognize some of your guys' names, but the chat is just, it's so fast. It's just so fast. Says shortness of breath is a symptom of both panic attack and coronavirus. Any advice on how to tell the difference between the two? The thing about it is try the 4x4 breathing that I mentioned and see if that helps. Because the coronavirus, everyone's going to experience it differently. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not the person you should come to when you're asking about the coronavirus, but I know anxiety. And I know that if I do some of my coping skills, if I breathe, if I stretch, if I distract my mind, I swear to God, you guys, breathing and stretching doesn't help me at all if I haven't already tried to distract my mind. And so taking my mind into one of those healthy, happy vacations or whatever is really what helps me most. And then I do some stretching to kind of take it to the next level. And so try to do that and see if that helps with that shortness of breath. Because the thing, I don't know if you guys have heard this, and again, I'm not a doctor, but I heard somebody talking on the TV that to see if it is the coronavirus in your lungs, you're supposed to breathe in and hold it at the top for 10 seconds. And if you can do that without coughing, you're good. Again, not a doctor. But I read that from a physician, and hopefully that gives you a little bit, a little bit of relief. Because trust me, as soon as I heard about dryness, like dry mouth and dry cough, I immediately felt like my throat was dry. And I know that that's like psychosomatic. So, oh, Rowdy Bliss, that's cute. And you're so welcome. I'm glad that I could be here for you guys. Okay. Comfort of fireflies. That's cute. Katie, how do you deal with rumination? I keep thinking over and over about how this pandemic will end before a vaccine, and I can't seem to use CBT to get out of it. I obsess. We all are obsessing. Thought stopping is key. I feel like maybe that, because I've been trying to figure out what kind of videos I could put out that would be helpful without being, because I don't want to feed, the thing that I want to be very cognizant of is I don't want to feed into the panic. I want to make sure that what I create is like calming, soothing, action-oriented. So maybe that's what I do, because we all are obsessing. It's a bombardment of information. So the first thing I have you do is limit how much information you're allowing yourself to consume. I know it's hard, but get off social media. If you're doing something and you find your heart is beating a little faster, you're doing these shoulder, chest breathing things, and you're starting to feel more anxious, maybe let's try something different. Maybe let's take a break. Let's lay down. Let's watch a different show that's like scripted, has nothing to do with anything. And then we're going to have to take those thoughts somewhere else. So come up with a strong memory, a happy, strong memory, one that is easy for you to use all 5 senses and take it there. I know it's hard, but honestly, that's the best way. That's the only way I can get to sleep these days, you guys. I've been like trying to tell myself stories and vacations and memories, and otherwise I just ruminate about, because I'm worried too. Don't think that just because I know better doesn't mean I'm immune. And it doesn't mean I even do better, right? I'm struggling too. So I hope that helps a little bit. Oh my God, Melissa, that is the cutest little emoji guy. Or I don't even know if you call him emoji, but like GIF. He's working out like this. It says, keep it up. Thanks, Melissa. Is that all of I thought I saw one in here. Someone asked me about suicidal thoughts. I must have missed it, but okay. The Spanish tutor says someone is asking for how to deal with suicidal thoughts. If you are worried, if you do not feel safe, if you are worried you're going to harm yourself, please, please, please call a suicide hotline. Connect with the crisis text line. Usually I would say take yourself to the hospital, but I don't think that that's a safe place for us right now. And I know that is crazy and it sucks, but if there is a place in your area that is only a psychiatric hospital, awesome. Kudos to you. Also let me know where you live, because not where you live, but like where you're at, because I didn't think those existed as much anymore. And it's so frustrating. And so if you're feeling suicidal, reach out, connect with people. I have a Facebook group, Katie, that you can connect with. It's not a place to deal, like, people aren't going to be able to talk you out of your suicidal thoughts, but it can be a way to distract and to connect with other people. Remember, you're not alone. I have a video I would encourage you to watch. It's called Suicide, an Honest Discussion. And you can even just look up on YouTube, Katie Morton Suicide. I have a ton of content. Know that you're not alone. Things are feeling crazy, but it will get better. Trust me, there is that little glimmer of hope. We just have to find it for you. I'm sorry that you're having a tough time. It is really, really uncertain right now. But that doesn't mean that you are walking this path alone. We're all here with you. Okay. Daniela says, after being demoted at work, I want to change careers and be my own boss. Awesome. What are some tips to decide what's the best for you in this big change? Thank you. You're truly, oh, thank you. That's so sweet of you, Daniela. I think, being your own boss comes with its pluses and minuses. One part of it that nobody ever tells you is they're like, oh, if you work for yourself, you don't work a day in your life. No, you work, you work a lot, and it's hard to shut it off sometimes. So work-life balance can be really tricky and something that I would just encourage you to keep an eye on. But doing something that you're passionate about, it really helps. It keeps you motivated, because if anybody doesn't know this, like working for yourself and starting your own thing isn't, we see a lot of people that are successful and we think, oh, that happened overnight. That was so easy. That's not the normal part. That's not how it normally works. Like, I've been on YouTube for over 8 years, and it's been a struggle. Like, Sean and I financially took a huge hit with it. Like, not being able to pay all of our bills. We had credit card debt when we were first trying to launch this, when I couldn't work 3 jobs and do this at the same time. We're not in debt anymore. Thank you. Thank God. But, and thank you to all my Patreon patrons and just community members in general. So I think, doing it in a way where you are doing something you're passionate about will keep you excited and engaged during those tough times when you're launching it. But I think focusing on something that you're passionate about, and some, like filling a void that you don't think exists online or, in our world, I think those are both really great things. And so, yeah, I mean, I would, even though I know you've been demoted at work, I would definitely stick with that job. We don't want to put too much pressure on this new thing, because you can kind of snuff it out. One of my favorite books, if you're looking for a little motivation, is called Big Magic. I would encourage you to read it. The first half of it, I know it sounds weird, but the second half didn't do that much for me, but the first half was super touching and inspirational for stuff like this. But yeah, keeping your job while you grow the thing that you really want to do. But yeah, make it something that you're passionate about, and keep your other job so that you can still pay bills while you figure that one out. Because it does take time. It takes time. Oh, it's Jessica Victoria. Hey. Says, hey, my boyfriend. What's FWB? You guys, I'm not very hip with things. And I got together and are on a break because I can't see him and can't handle separation anxiety. Is it wrong of me because COVID is something beyond our control? Nothing's wrong of any of you guys. Like, if you feel that this is best for you in the moment, we are in a time and an experience that none of us have had before. This is all very, very new. So I would just encourage you to do what you think is best. Nothing is right or wrong. We're just trying to manage. If it makes you feel better to be on a break, even though you can't see him and he can't leave his house, if that just makes you feel better, that's fine. But if you feel like it would be better if you weren't on a break, because I think that being on a break makes it sound like the relationship doesn't exist, and you maybe need that connection more than ever. And it could be a good time to kind of practice being separate but together. So yeah, think about it and do what's best for you, because there's no right or wrong right now. Okay. I think am I caught up? Things fly by and I'm trying to, okay. Okay. Jan Mott says, how do I deal with my addiction, relapse, and depression from being stuck indoors? We got to use our skills, you guys. I was talking with Dr. Drew about this last week. You really, if we need to find ways, I would encourage any of you, if you're in AA or NA or any of those support groups, to create those groups online. If anybody can look or do some research, because it really, really should be, there should be online resources, because this is such a stressful time. And I'm sure a lot of us are struggling with relapse from all sorts of addictions and mental illnesses and issues, because it's a big change and we're overwhelmed. So connection, if you have a sponsor, connect with that sponsor, do all the things that you can do to help yourself, use all your tools, reach out, connect with people online. You're not alone. This is just a shitty time, but I promise it will get better. And yeah, use those tools. And check out again my video, the Katie Morton 25 coping skills. I think that will really help. And the comments are filled with a ton of other ideas too, if you don't like the ones that I offered. Shay Jam says, what to do if you're feeling multiple symptoms but not intense enough to diagnose? Surely bipolar 2, highly sensitive person, depression, empath. I think the best thing is to see a professional. I know that right now that's a little tricky, but through Talkspace and BetterHelp, those are ways that you can connect with professionals. And so I would encourage you to reach out to them, because we can't diagnose ourselves and we don't even know how to treat it until we see a professional. They know the best ways. So I would encourage you to reach out and see someone. Okay. AVMU says, hey, Katie, I've had a couple girlfriends in the past, but I still get really nervous around girls and even sometimes panic attacks. Why is that? A lot of it can be for us to, it's a self-confidence issue, or it could be social anxiety. Those are the two most common that I find when it comes to relationships and dating and feeling nervous. What I would encourage you to do to kind of, because there's something we can definitely do right now while we're at home to deal with the confidence issue. And that is to, come up with let's start with one thing a day that we like about ourselves, that we do well, that we're proud of ourselves for. Any of those things, come up with one. And then after a week of doing one every day, I want you to move up to 2. And the goal is to get it to like 3 to 5 things. But let's start with 1 for this week and work from there. Because I have a feeling that the worry that's coming from it, the anxiety component, the panic attacks, could be born out of the confidence issue. But because I truly believe, if you guys don't know, I believe that anxiety, the root of anxiety is a confidence thing, like the root of the root, like the real base of it. And so I really think that could help. And then for panic attacks, the sooner, if we can track back the anxious symptoms and figure out what triggers it and how we respond, if we can catch it early on and use some of those coping skills from that video. You can also look up a lot of my anxiety videos that offer other tools that can really help calm us down and get us feeling better. Okay. Let's see. I'm missing, there you are. There you are, Ray. I knew Raymond was here. He says, I'm told by the media to wear a mask, then told the next day they aren't enough, and to save save them for the healthcare workers. Yeah, I'm feeling so confused with conflicting information. Join the club. When it comes to masks, and again, you guys, I don't believe I'm more informed than any of you. I'm just going to tell you what I know. When it comes to the masks, there's a certain one. It's the 95, I think it is, M95 or so. You guys you can tell me in the chat. It's called something 95. The virus itself is large enough as a virus that certain types of the material that the masks are made out of can block it for a short period of time until it gets overwhelmed with the virus. If we're jumping into a pool of virus in the air or whatever. So the masks can help for a short period of time, and then they should be thrown out and not reused. However, if we are staying home, if we are sheltering in place like we're supposed to be, we shouldn't need the masks, and we should give the masks to our healthcare workers because they really need them. But if our job is forcing us out, if we are a healthcare worker, if we are a truck driver or a delivery person, or someone that's helping keep our ecosystem together, the masks don't hurt, but they have to be that specific type of mask. And I'm sure the comments are filled with them. But yeah, right. That's why it's like the best thing we can do is stay home if you can. And if you had to touch anything outside of your home that you haven't disinfected, or that you were worried might have come in contact with someone or something with the virus, we disinfect it, wash it, and we wash our hands for 20 seconds. Sing a little ditty. You got us. We have a new member. Thanks, Abby. Welcome to the club. Okay. And thank you, Saldor. I don't know if I'm saying that name right, and you guys know I'm not good at that, but thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh yeah, N95. Thanks, Sean. Sean is effective against trolls. Gotta love Sean. He's me in the chat right now, you guys. He's helping out. Okay. So yeah, okay, Laura Potts says N95 masks are best to use because it fits around your mouth and nose, but us immunocompromised are encouraged to wear masks. Yes. So people who are immunocompromised in general, immunocompromised, I always have such a tough time saying that word. I'm going to say that name wrong, but yeah, so you should be the most careful. And people, ask your friends and family for support. I think that like if there's older people in your neighborhood or your neighbors, like we have an older lady that lives next door and she's like out and about. And I saw her the other day and I'm like, hey, are you okay? Like, do you need me to get you anything? Like, we're going to order groceries and they'll be delivered. She's like, I'm fine. So, I mean, I worry about her because I think she should just be in her home. But you can always check in on people, especially if you know people are immunosuppressed. Oh, thanks. Egan, am I saying that right? It's Eoghan, Egan Colon. Thank you. And Ireland. I'd love to come to Ireland. James, how do I get comfortable doing online therapy with my dad home? Be warned, he's home. Like I can be as expressive as I want. Okay. I think if it helps, it depends on the person. Like I was telling people on my Patreon live stream last week that a great thing to do if you just need to be, if you just want some privacy, even if you're not worried, like, oh, they're not going to say anything or do anything, or it's not going to be bad, but I just don't want people to hear me in therapy. That's why you go to a therapist's office. Totally get it. If you have a car, you can go sit in the car and do your therapy there. If you are able to, like, put a blanket up and sit in a closet or something and shut the door so that it's like gives you a little more like sound insulation so they don't hear what you're saying. Those are really great tools. Or turning up music in one room and sitting in the room next to it so that it like muffles like white noise. Those are all ways that you can help. If anybody has any tips or tools, leave those in the comments. Oh, Zara, thanks for joining the biweekly journal prompts. Oh, friends with benefits. Thanks, Jessica. So anyways, yeah, that's kind of my advice, and it just takes time. It's not comfortable, and hopefully it doesn't have to last for too long. Okay. Kayla, Jessica says friends with benefits is FWB. Another question, I've not experienced sexual trauma or anything. Why would I dissociate during sex? It could just be maxing your system out. It could be an attachment thing or an anxiety thing. We dissociate for a lot of different reasons. So I would try to do some journaling and try to figure out where it's coming from. It could be like not feeling safe and secure in yourself. It doesn't mean we have to have a past trauma. It could be kind of traumatizing to us now. It could be just a little scary. We could feel too vulnerable. That could be hard for us to manage. There's a lot of reasons. So yeah, take your time to figure out what that means for you, what the reason is for you. Kayla says, my therapist is leaning towards virtual sessions soon for both of our sakes, and it makes me so nervous. Any tips for virtual sessions? I think the best thing is to continue to have like kind of a ritual around your therapy. If like you used to always get a coffee and then go to therapy, or you put on your comfy pants or something. I know that sounds silly, but if there's anything to your therapy that's like ritualized, keep doing that. And then making sure you're in a place where you feel like you have some privacy. That's really important. And then honestly, it just takes time. It's uncomfortable. I don't prefer virtual sessions, but it's great to be connected. And I think after the first one, you'll realize A, it's not that scary, and B, it's actually much more comforting than you expected it to be. And so I really think, Kayla, that it will get better. It's just like kind of getting into that new rhythm, but the privacy and the rituals are really important. Okay, journey to wellness. Oh, there's more than one. Hold on, journey to wellness. I got to find your other one. How do you guys, okay, hold on. Let me get out of that. I got to scroll back. Find the first, okay, part one. Katie, I love your videos. I'm 34, being treated for inattentive ADHD and depression. I've been medicated and seen a therapist for CBT for about 2 years. Scrolling down. My therapist is kind and caring, but I don't know how much it's helping. Like, I really trust him, but I wonder if there is time to find a new therapist. It's possible. The thing about therapy, it depends on how long, because we kind of have to give it a shot, and we have to work hard at therapy. Therapy's fucking hard work, you guys. And as a therapist, I can't work harder than my patients because I can't do the work for you. We have to work together. So like you're working hard and I'm working hard. And so if you feel like you've been putting in the effort and they're just not giving you much to work with, mention it to them. Say like, hey, I don't really feel like I'm making that much progress. I would really prefer to have a little more homework, or I'd like more instruction around this. Give them a chance to do that. And if it doesn't improve, then there's nothing wrong with finding another therapist. It's not personal. It's all about you and your recovery and your process and you getting the help that you need. Yeah. Cool. We have a new member, Maya. Woo woo. James says, I'm doing online therapy because my therapist's office got closed because of COVID-19. Yay, money's for you. Me being me is fine. Awesome. Thank you, James. And I'm glad you'll be able to do online therapy. And I hope that for all of us that have to do this, it's like, it's comfortable. You're okay doing it. I know it's a weird time. Okay. Kayla Barnes says, hi, Katie. I'm a DID ally. After the drama on here this week concerning the DID community and also with the virus, the DID systems I know are scared. Any tips? I know there was a lot of drama. A lot of people wanted me to comment on Trisha Paytas' video, but the thing that I don't do, just FYI, is I don't comment on other people's mental illnesses. I have a big problem with people who come online and talk about other people's struggles because you're not them. And you shouldn't share someone else's personal information also. That bothers me. And I'm not shaming any of you. I'm just saying personally, I don't think that's appropriate. And I have a real issue with anybody trying to come out being like, I'm trying to help them and we need to do, you're like, listen, it's their struggle. It's their private personal information. It's not your place. And so when it comes to Trisha, did I see issues with her video and the way she tried to describe DID? Yes. Do I believe that she has DID? I don't know. She needs to see a professional and be properly diagnosed, period. And that's her story, and that's something that she should do. I think in light of, the virus and all the anxiety, I'm sure those of us who struggle with dissociation anywhere on that spectrum, if you guys don't know, DID is dissociative identity disorder. And it used to be called multiple personality disorder, but there's a lot of different ways that dissociation as a whole can affect our system. And I think when we're already feeling stressed and maxed out, and if you guys disagree with what I'm saying about this, you can let me know in those comments. I don't pretend to know everything or be right about everything. But I think that we're already feeling overwhelmed. And so kind of back to using our grounding techniques. If you have other altars and you find yourself flipping more, like switching more quickly, or living in one altar that you normally don't live in as often, we're going to have to use some of those grounding techniques and those coping skills because our system is completely and crazily activated. And that kind of goes back to that coping skills video. I have a whole video about grounding techniques. You can count colors in the room. We can snap rubber bands. We can squeeze ice cubes using all of your 5 senses. You can do different things. How does your shirt feel on your skin? There's a lot of things we can do. So I would just encourage you to use those tools. I think when we get maxed out, we kind of like forget all the things that helped us in the past. Take some time today to write those things down. Remember what helped you so that you can get better. But I'm sorry that you're feeling scared and it's overwhelming. I wish I could hug you all. It's been a really, really shitty time, but it will get better, okay? Okay, Melissa says, I love Melissa last name. Hey there, how do I stop comparing myself to my peers? They have the jobs I want, and sometimes I don't even want to talk to them. I'm so jealous. A lot of it, jealousy is an interesting, I have a whole video about that, Melissa, if you want to just like YouTube Katie Morton jealousy. But jealousy is an interesting thing because it's born out of our feelings of inadequacy or lack of self-confidence. And so it really starts with us. It actually has nothing to do with them. And so kind of going back to what I'd said onto another question about building confidence, I would encourage you to start talking more kindly to yourself because you're feeling so shitty about you and your situation that it's spilling over into relationships. And I don't want you to not be able to have these relationships when you need them. Right now, you might just need to take a break, and that's okay too. It's okay to disconnect for a little bit. And you can even tell them like, hey, I'm going through something. I just need a little space. It has nothing to do with you. It's all about me. I'll come back around. And then we have to work on our own self-confidence and our own self. Like I was talking about earlier on a live stream last week on Patreon about like, or maybe it was an interview. I don't know, you guys. It's all smushed together. But I think that this is a great time where we have some kind of downtime and we can go inside, consider how you're feeling. Are you liking the way your life is going? Are there some decisions that you could make or changes you could make that would work towards what you would rather have? But I don't want you to think that having a great job is going to make you feel better because it won't. We have to feel better inside first. So work on that self-confidence every day. I want you to tell yourself one thing you like about yourself that you're proud of, something that you're good at. I want you to work up next week to 2 things and then working up the next week to 3 things a day. You'll get there, Melissa. You're not alone. But it does get better. And I'm sorry that you're going through such a shitty time. I know it's hard. Okay. Thanks, Frankie. Thanks, TK. I'm trying to catch up with everything here, but Wiggles and Polly Pockets. I love it. So TK works with animals, and she always gives us the names of some animals, some patients that she worked on today. And today it was Wiggles and Polly Pockets. Anybody remember what Polly Pockets were? I remember. Okay, Greta, I think you're the next one, Greta. I'm having a tough time staying in order here. Oh, Cynthia. Any tips for dealing with isolation right now? We have to find other ways to connect, you guys. We have to get online. We have to do live streams with our friends, Zoom meetings, FaceTimes, chats, anything. That's the best way. We have to engage in the way that we can engage. And I know it sucks and it's not the same, but we're doing the best we can. Okay, Greta says, a guy I started dating told me he was diagnosed with sociopathic tendencies, but not full-blown APD. APD is antisocial personality disorder. He said he feels some things very intensely. Okay, Greta, I'm looking for the next one.